All right, hello Hong Kong. I guess the break didn't give us a break. Let's see. Can you put up my presentation? Here we go. All right. So last year, I think there were, what, like 1,500 people here? Right? Who attended last year? No one. It's all fresh blood. Okay, one person. Okay, so how many are familiar with Celsius? Heard of Celsius before? All right, so I can get off the stage, right? It sounds like most of you know what we're talking about. So I am famous for three things. One is 6 children at home. That's the most important thing. I did 7 startups before Celsius. And now I'm considered one of the bank's biggest enemies. You know, if you want to read more about it, there's a Forbes article that just came out this morning saying that I'm the guy the banks should be worried about. So the reason my context is relevant is because I actually deployed Voice over IP here in Hong Kong in 1995, back when it was still a British colony. Who was here in 1995? Oh, one guy. All right. So I work with New TNT and New World. You know those companies, New TNT and New World? They had phone companies competing with Hong Kong Telecom, and we brought in VoIP that replaced $3 a minute with what was then 50 cents a minute and now 0, right? So we took something that was a giant monopoly, Hong Kong Telecom was a giant monopoly, and reduced it down to nothing, right? Basically, we all use VoIP for free today. So the same thing is going to happen with MOIP. MOIP is money over IP, and money over IP is here to basically get rid of the banks and replace them with a service that actually acts in our best interest. Anyone here works for a bank? Security, there's one guy in the back. But the point is, 20 years from now, banks are going to have to come up with a different business model. This idea that I can take somebody's money for free, not pay them anything for it, and then lend it to your neighbor, make 24% because I'm charging them on their credit card, 24, 25%, I'm not paying anything for the money, keep 90% of the value to myself, the bank, is just a crazy idea. I know we all do giving our money for free to banks every day, but that's going to be replaced. So taxonomy of crypto, right? Digital assets, US dollars are digital assets, but underneath that we have all of these different types of digital assets that are being born, right? Stable coins, NFTs. You familiar with that? You know, anyone here knows what NFTs stand for? One guy? 2? Non-fungible tokens. Most assets, in my view, in the future are going to be non-fungible tokens, meaning they're unique assets. They're not like, just like every Ethereum, every ETH is the same. Here it's exactly the opposite of that. So we're still experimenting, right? We're still trying to figure out what's happening. But I want to share with you my kind of analysis of what happened in the last 10 years since the Bitcoin was created. And if you have to think about it in the context of a 4-man relay race. Anyone here did a relay race in high school or in college? Oh, we have a few guys. Okay, great. So the analogy will be really easy to understand. So Satoshi invents this beautiful thing called the Bitcoin and hands off, who did he hand off the baton to? Who's the first guys to kind of grab it and say, yeah, we love this thing? Well, you have a clue right there. I think it's, right? It was a bunch of anarchists, right? About 1 million anarchists who basically said, we hate the current system, we're going to create something completely different, and they grab the baton and they try to run with it, but they can't finish the race. There's just not enough anarchists on the planet to deliver this as a killer app. So they had to pass the baton. Who did they pass the baton to? Libertarians, right? 3 million libertarians show up, they grab the baton, they try to finish the race, they can't finish the race either. 4 million people using any technology is a complete disaster, okay? No tech in the world can survive on 4 million users. So they pass the baton to someone else. Who do you guys think is the next guy to grab the baton? Speculators, very good. You get a free Celsius wallet. So the speculators look at these two guys and say, it's not about blowing up the world, it's not about saving the world, right? The libertarians want to save the world with this thing. It's about making money. And they take Bitcoin from about 600 all the way to 20,000, right? We overshoot to the top. 20 million speculators from all over the world jump in on this. Who did they try to hand off the baton to? Anyone? Anyone who's seen this presentation before? You can do a clue on the internet. Just Google 4-man relay race. You'll see what the last guy is, right? So the last guy was supposed to be the institutions. All these guys that usually are the first guys in on the next big thing suddenly were the last guy in. They were the guy who was like saying, oh my gosh, this is the best performing asset class in a decade, in a generation. We missed the whole thing. How do we get in on the next big thing? And the speculators were like, here is the baton, man, at 20,000. Well, the institution said, I'm not touching this thing. They dropped the baton, right? Prices are down 80% because regulatory, scalability, right, and security issues. All those things haven't been solved. It's not that they care about the price. The issue was more about them coming in and during the same period of time, right, if you look at what happens to subscribers versus what's happening to price action, there's a complete disconnect between price action and subs. We're still on a hockey stick. We just overshot to the top, and now we had to rebound. So really, we're migrating from a pyramid, a system in which all the value flows to the top of the 1%, to the people. Your boss's boss or his boss are the guys making all the money. Today in the United States, I'm part of that group. I ran 2 public companies. The average CEO of a public company makes between 300 and 600 times their average employee salary. Okay? 30 years ago when I came to the United States, they were making 6 to 8 times. So it's up 100 times just how much more the CEO makes, and all the value is extracted and either kept by management or is delivered to the shareholders. JP Morgan, 2018, $131 million in revenues, 131 billion in revenues, 31 billion in profit. All that profit, instead of giving it to the depositors, they're giving it to their shareholders as dividends. That's what we're here to replace. Okay, so, and we are part of a giant wave, a tsunami, right? You're all familiar with open source, kind of eating the world. Well, guess what? Decentralization is eating everything. And what you're seeing is the same thing you've seen in networks, right? Anyone here used to play with X.25 networks? Oh, here. Yeah, the guys without hair. So that got eaten up by frame relay, got eaten up by ATM. Everybody thought ATM was a killer app, right? That's going to be the technology that's going to dominate the world. And then TCP/IP came from nowhere and collapsed all the networks into that. Well, guess what? There's one more step here. Okay? The quantum computer network that is about to run the blockchains all over the world is going to be 1,000 times bigger than any network that runs today, and it's going to collapse all those networks on top of it. How do I know? I'm the guy that in 1994 ran around the world and told everybody, hey, voice is just an application. You don't understand. The internet is going to be so big, voice is just going to be an application on the internet. People laughed at me. They looked at me and said, just like you guys are laughing at me about this big fishy. You know, what are you talking about, Alex? Nothing can be bigger than the internet. That's exactly what all the phone companies told me 25 years ago. Nothing could be bigger than our TDM network. We have these mainframe computers that we built. We're paying like $10, $15 million a pop to Nortel and Ericsson and all these guys for these behemoths, right? Well, today, a $10,000 PC switch does the same job as one of those mainframes. So what we're struggling with in the cryptocurrency and in this decentralization movement is finding the killer app. We have all these experiments, we have all these things going on, but no one has hit the bullseye. We have over 2,000 projects, not a single project that has scale. Anyone here disagrees with me? Anyone here thinks there's a project that actually hit scale? When Netscape came out in 1995, in 6 weeks they had 100 million downloads. And the entire internet was basically 150 million people using it. So that is scale. So I put it together for you in a real simple formula so you can remember this, right? E stands for what? What do you guys think E stands for? E stands for enough, right? I should just leave the stage. Energy, no, this is a Bitcoin conference. So E stands for, wow, people are really tired. I flew here for 22 hours, so none of you should be tired. All right, E stands for Ethereum. If you want your Ethereum to be valuable, what are the components? What are the things that are going to make Ethereum very valuable? What can M stand for? It's not money and it's not mass. This is not a physics conference. It's a crypto. Mass adoption, very good. So what do you need for mass adoption? You need membership. It's all about people joining. And the number of people we're joining, as you can see from this conference, is just not enough. You want to get to mass adoption, you need hundreds of millions of people to join this. And all of us shuffling coins with each other is not a killer app. I'm sorry to disappoint the converted, right? Talking to the converted here, but still. So, and together with that, you need also credit. Credit is what makes economies move. If you want the Bitcoin or the Ethereum networks to have viability, you need tremendous amount of credit in those systems. We had 3 waves of adoption: infrastructure, middleware, and dApps. I'm a big believer that dApps are the killer apps. It's not the fat protocol, okay? Fat protocol is like the fat, it's gonna be not over until the fat lady sings. The fat protocol is not gonna deliver anything. I wrote the VoIP protocol. You can look it up, okay? I made $0 on that. 3.5 billion people use it all over the planet. So what you do need is you need to figure out how you get this fishy to eat all the other asset classes. How are you going to get this adoption? These are all the different monetary elements that can come in to basically buy coins. If any of these people start buying coins, you're done, right? If BlackRock decides to put 1% of their assets into Bitcoin, that is more than the entire market cap of Bitcoin today. That's going to drive the price 10x, right? That's just not happening. And you have to figure out why it's not happening. Anyone know who the guy in the middle is? Satoshi, very good. Here we go. We have one guy who knows. So Satoshi showed us the way, but now we have other blockchains that are basically doing a better job at scale, at transparency, and all the other stuff. So, bragging rights, Celsius was voted top 10 blockchain by every publication you can think of, from MSN to Forbes to everybody else, right? So it's considered one of the best applications for the blockchain revolution. So the main question is, are you going to work from 9 to 7, or are you going to party from 7 to 9? No, even that is not funny. All right. I'll buy everybody drinks after. How about that? Is that going to wake you up? So that's what we do. We basically we allow people to borrow dollars at 9%. We have a wallet. You deposit coins in the wallet, and you can get a dollar loan against it. We charge 9% for the same loan. Everybody else charges 15, 20, 25%. And we take this 9% and we give 7% of it back to the community, back to the depositors. What a new idea, giving the depositor stuff back instead of your shareholders? Why would you do that? People come to me and say, Alex, but why are you giving so much to the depositor? Why can't you just give him 3%? You want to disrupt the banks? You better do something more than just do a little bit better. So these are the coins we support. This is what we pay right now. You can just deposit coins in the wallet and get this kind of return. And I put this slide here to really illustrate to you. So the background, this stuff is all the banks that used to be in the United States in 1990. These are big banks. These were all banks that had at least 100 billion in assets. We're down to 5. They all merged together. And look what happened to the interest rate during that period. This is the interest rate they pay you. So the banks are stealing from us every day. Banks are not your friends. I say bad things about banks every day. This is our wallet. You can download it right now. Just do a search for Celsius Network. We have 65,000 downloads. We launched in June. We did an ICO in March. We raised $50 million. Since June 2018, we did $1 billion in loans. Do you know any other crypto application that did $1 billion like this? That's how much demand there is out there. 79% of our users deposit with us 4 or 5 times. We have an extremely high stickiness, right? These are all hodlers. 93% of the time of these days, positive deposits. Bitcoin lost half of its value during that period. We did not have almost a single day where we had more withdrawals than deposits. That is the true community. That is the hodler community. If you want to take a picture, you can download it or just scan it with your phone. You can get the wallet. And here is what is the blockchain? When I say blockchain, what comes into your mind? What's the image that comes to your mind? Anyone? Chain? A chicken? What else? Anything? What comes to your mind? A what? It's actually a tank. The blockchain is only good for one thing. If you think blockchain is going to cure cancer and it's going to kill the banks and it's going to replace all this other stuff, my answer to you is no. It's the slowest, most expensive database ever created in humans' history. So it's only good for 1 or 2 things. And we have to figure out what those are. Does anyone know who this guy is? Satoshi? No. Who is Scott Stornetta? Anyone met Scott Stornetta? Hey, we have one guy who actually met him. He exists. So I love going to conferences and these kids, you know, they're 25 or 30, they get up and they say, Satoshi invented the blockchain. Oh no, Satoshi did not invent the blockchain. The first blockchain was created in 1970. Okay, 1991, Scott created the Merkle tree. And Satoshi, this is the last page from Satoshi's white paper. Satoshi 4 times says, hey, you know, this is the giant on whose shoulders I'm standing. That's a quote from somebody else, if you know. So Scott did not choose to join the Ethereum project or the Bitcoin project or any one of the 5,000 startups that are in the blockchain space. He's only supporting one project, which is Celsius. And the reason is not because I'm so good looking. The reason is because he believes that we are actually going to change. We have the chance, just like we did with VoIP, to take something that used to cost $3 a minute and make it free. We have a chance to take that $31 billion. That's $5 per person on the planet. That's just what JP Morgan makes every year. We can take that and give it back to the people. And that's not hard. Now, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. What about you guys? Yes? Anyone here is mad? They steal from you every day. You work your asses off, you go home, and your bank steals from your pocket every day and you do nothing about it. I told you I'm going to say bad things about banks. So, we need to cross the chasm, right? Satoshi was thinking, he created Bitcoin, then we got Ethereum. Right now, we're about to fall through this chasm. We cannot get through it. So, the question is, what's going to save us? Is it going to be a security token? I don't think so. A lot of people think it is. I'm telling you, it's not going to be that. Is it going to be non-fungible tokens? Maybe, right? But I think the next big thing right now that we can all rely on is the stable coin. So, power to the people. If you're serious about this, you better do something about it, not just sit there and come to conferences and get free swag. Okay, and that's about bringing, each one of you needs to bring 10 people into this industry. People that don't have any knowledge, they're afraid of keys, they don't understand what the crypto thing is, they don't understand why you're in it, and so on. This is how our system works. If you think you understand this, come talk to me, I'll hire you in a minute. 3 things to remember. VoIP to MOIP equals MC squared, power to the people, download our app, earn 7% or more. And this is our secret to our success. We only have 17 employees, but most of them are women. That is the secret. You want to do a revolution and you don't have half of the population in it with you, you're not going to be successful. Thank you very much. This is how you contact us. And come talk to me, and I would love to make this happen. Help me make it happen.